Hello and welcome to Scrapping on the Fly. My name is Kristin and I'm here with day 27 of May I Scraplift You. And earlier in the month I missed one of the days. I got a layout done that day, but not one from the list. And so this is Hsys Ketter and it's Work to Scrap on Instagram. And I had saved this to use to when I scraplift her. And since I missed that day, I'm going to use it for today. I have this picture of me and my son on his graduation day from middle school. And I am continuing on using the It's a New Day by Hip Kit Club. I have already created 2 or 3 layouts with this collection for my son and my nephew's graduation. And so I thought I would continue on with that since these pages will be facing each other. I have some scraps left over from a layout sneak peek that you'll see tomorrow if you come back to see me. And so I'm using the bits and pieces that are left over from that. I am also going to bring in the acrylic or enamel accents in white and in black. And I'm also going to add in this Distress ink by Tim Holtz in Villainous Potion and this Tim Holtz stencil. So I have my papers. I have lots and lots of embellishments, my mixed media, this picture that I adore so much, and this awesome layout. So let's see how this goes. So first I did matte the whole layout, which she has also done. And then I'm using the Villainous Potion to ink around the outside. She has a, what looks like a pin marking all around her layout, or it could be sewing, I don't know. But I decided that I would use this inking so it'll also help set apart the white cardstock from that pattern paper. And then I'm just using the X's on this stencil. So I use that post-it note to keep it from, to keep me from inking through the little circular bits that are on the other half of that. And I just move it around. I didn't mind for some overlapping at all. Some are a little darker, some are only partial. I love that because it's kind of the whole point of some distress looking. Moving that around, but I did line it up for the most part. And I then pull out my scraps. Like I said, the layout you'll see tomorrow for my Scraplift Crafternoon, you're going to see that stripy paper and that floral paper. And so I'm taking just some scraps from the floral paper. I need to make the little rectangles that she's using on the side of the page. Now mine are going to look a little different. Probably about the same size, but I give mine a little bit more space on my layout. So hers may be a little bit bigger than mine, but I cut mine in 2 1/4 by 1 1/2. And I'm going to cut one strip here that is going to be 2 1/4, and then I'm going to cut it into 1 1/2 inch pieces. And so I end up with 7 1 1/2 inch pieces and then one that's a little smaller. But if you look in that top left corner where her layout is, at least one of them is completely covered in with the picture. And so I knew that I could get away with just having 7 because I knew I needed 4 of each of the 3 patterns. So I matte my picture on the back of that floral paper is like a video game board. And so I've just, there's a little bit of the color that peeks out, and then I matte the whole thing on black, and then I'm distress the black background paper that I matte it with. And then I go through and I distress all of these little 2 1/4 by 1 1/2 rectangles. And then I'm going to lay them down. Now, I am OCD about some things, but when it comes to lining things up, I am not that OCD because I'm more impatient than I am OCD. I would not like it if it was color on color, like if I had one of the stripy colored papers right above or next to another stripy colored paper, but I am not cautious enough to like be uber careful about lining them up, you know, top to bottom and left to right. As long as they're pretty close, I'm good. And when you add that distressing touch, if it's not perfectly cut symmetrical, that helps cover that. It also helps you when you're laying down things like this, that gives you a little bit of texture. And so I like to use my Tim Holtz Distress Tool to do that. So it just helps it, look like it's not meant to be clean and, pristine, so that it doesn't have to be perfect when it's laid down like that. So I am just building my cluster here. There's really only one cluster on this layout. I do add this little floral up here on the top of the picture, just because I felt like it needed a little something there, especially with the color that I'm working with, or some of the colors I'm working with. So I'm going to put that up there in the top left corner of the picture. But other than that, the only cluster is really down here in the bottom, and I've already laid it down. I put You Light Up My World on a very thin foam. It's not fun foam. It's about half the depth of fun foam, because I didn't want it to be too bulky, but I wanted it to have a little oomph so that it would stand out with all the clusters. So I used a couple floral clusters. I added a little circle bit that says have fun. I put a cute little bird in there because he's about to take off, and really it's just because the purple, I love that purple and I wanted to bring that in, and that's what I matched my Villainous Potion to, was that purple bird. And so I add a purple heart down in the bottom corner of the cluster, and a little orangey red colored heart, because the layout that you'll see if you come back tomorrow for my Scraplift Crafternoon has the little hearts and like I said, these papers. So it also has the enamel accents that I'm going to use from Tim Holtz, and I love these. They don't necessarily stay dimensional as much as like a Nuvo or a Stickle, but they do still keep some of their bulk and their form. But I just love how easy they are. They're a little thinner to use, so they come out kind of quick, so be cautious. And I've never seen it in anything other than black and white, but because I'm using white background paper, I knew that my white was not going to stand out there. And so I was a little concerned about that, trying to think about what I wanted to do. The other layout that this is going to be matching is going to be on like a periwinkle background paper. And so the white doesn't, like, it's not in your face, but it's there. So what I decided to do was use my white enamel accents on the right side where the rectangles are. And I'm using it, you can tell that I'm kind of being intentional about where I put them. I'm not putting them like where they're going to disappear into the paper. And then I pull the black ones out, and I'm going to use those over here on the left side, which of course is right now because I've turned the page. But this is Black Tie and Glacier White Enamel Accents by Ranger and Tim Holtz. And I think it's by Tim Holtz. Well, anyway, it's definitely Ranger. And I love, love, love the way that it looks. I put them all the way down, kind of scattered around. And I make sure to put a few throughout, like the spaces in where my rectangles are, just so it kind of brings that over. And I love how this turned out. It's so bright and cheerful, which, goes along with the You Light Up My World title. I love this picture of my son because he did not want to smile. He did not want to take another picture. I have been taking pictures all day, and I finally, with a lot of browbeating from the people around me, got him to smile enough to take the picture with me. So I'm very happy with that. I hope you will go check out all the different people that we've been scraplifting through the month of May with May I Scraplift You. Crystal Barrett did an amazing job finding lots of people who were willing to be scraplifted and made a list for us. And so, like I said, I've been mostly going by it every day, but there were a few that I've missed, and I'm going to try and work them in either this month or in the next couple of weeks after May is over. So that will be listed below, as well as the list of the people who Crystal created and the playlist for May I Scraplift You. And I hope you'll come back and see me again tomorrow for the page that this is matching. And I will be back every day the rest of this month. And the next month is 30 Days of Sketches. So I hope you all have a fantastic day and happy scrapping.